Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's me. Time in the paddock F1. Greeny and the cheese. Round 9 sees F1 return to Catalonia. For the 35th time, we race in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. Michael, you've been to Barcelona. So where are we going? What are we effing doing? Let's go.
He's tossed it after 143 episodes. He tosses it my way. 145 episodes, something like that. Listen, my favorite place is Barcelona. I was there. I was just there. I love the Olympic Village from the '92 Olympic Village. That was very cool. Seeing all like the Michael Jordan stuff and how really the NBA began, like their European invasion. So many great European players coming over after that '92. Really, the Sagrada Familia, of course. I mean, you got to see the Sagrada. It's such a tourist trap. You got to go see it. Just don't get your pockets picked. That's for damn sure. And listen, Salvador Dali. There's all kinds of like Dali stuff all around the city. There's all kinds of amazing artwork. There's all kinds of the Picasso Museum. There's all kinds of amazing stuff to check out. It is a glorious city by the sea, and the best paella you'll ever have. Can't replicate it in the States, I tell you. Not the same saffron. Throw it back to you, sir. Got to get the saffron right, and I can't get it right.
This ain't no travel show. This is an F1 show, and we're racing the Circuit de Catalunya. 2.89 miles, 14 corners, 2 DRS zones. You give it the full beat for 68% of your lap. And oh man, did we get some late race drama and excitement with that late safety car with 6 laps to go. Oh man. But Oscar McLaren pretty much controlled the race most of the way through. Safety car then spiced it up, and then we got Mad Max was back as he just snapped and saw the red mist or something. Madness. Absolutely had a complete meltdown. But then Oscar takes the win. Lando takes second. Leclerc third to round out the podium. We are caffeinated. We are medicated. I know I am for damn sure. Greeny, good day, sir.
Listen, Max drove like he was driving down the Brooklyn's Queens Expressway or the Long Island Expressway. As anyone in the New York City area knows, although whatever maniac city you might live in, think about your commute to work and how many people you want to run off the road. But you don't do it because you're not a lunatic, but Mad Max today was a lunatic. The immaturity showing, the frustration clearly showing. I don't know if this is because of the curse of the second seat. I don't know really what's going on because he really was putting himself in an opportunity to be on podium, obviously slipping away from that number one spot, but and now really taking a step back with Oscar Piastri winning and now pushing further back. He was only, 23 points out going into this race and now completely blowing it. McLaren's first 1-2 in Barcelona in a long time, first win in Spain in a long time for them. Congratulations to Oscar Piastri, who just keeps defying the odds. The fact that he has 5 race wins and only four career poles and 5 wins just this season, just remarkable. And the cool, calm, and collectiveness, seeing this guy in interviews, post-race, pre-race, everywhere, just, who is this guy? But crazy race. I think Mad Max is the news of the day, and I just wanted to throw a little Oscar Piastri and McLaren in there as well.
No, Oscar,
because Max is going to be the news of the week.
Back. I mean, that was an absolute bounce back for Oscar. Oscar, struggled at Monaco, and the next week he just bounces right back and was pretty much the front all weekend. I mean, McLaren in general was just, far and above everybody else. Let's start there to begin with. But Oscar was just on it all weekend more than Lando. And showing that maturity and somebody who wants to, win a driver's title and has that little bit more of that it factor. At this point, if something doesn't go his way one weekend, the next weekend he's right back to where he should be at the top. But definitely, as you said, the story is definitely Max just seeing the red mist and just going absolutely insane, driving right into George Russell. I mean, that's got to be what, 3 penalty points for that for sure, at least.
Yeah, the 10-second penalty was
It
not
has to
enough.
be.
It was not enough.
No,
and we're coming
no,
to you guys.
no.
The race ended about an hour ago as we're sitting here right now, so there might be more penalties. There probably will be, and we'll be coming in next week. I know we have a week off. We'll be coming in about probably 6 days next Saturday to give you another show and probably a major update on the Max Verstappen situation. I could see him being penalized going into the next race. I could see him getting points, but 10-second penalty was not enough for that maniac move that he pulled, and clear frustration. I don't know your thoughts on future.
Oh, that was complete frustration. I don't think. I mean, the 10-second penalty was given by the stewards. That's going to be what it is. I don't think they're not going to add anything onto that post race now.
No, I don't think post race for this race, but I'm talking about penalties, like larger penalties.
Well, driver's points, he's got to get at least 3, and he has 8 right now. You need 12 until you're suspended and miss a race. So, I think Seb got 3 when he crashed into Hamilton under the safety car in Baku. What was that? 21?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it further back, maybe 20? But Seb got 3 penalty points for that. So this has to be at least 3 points for Max.
So it gives him 11.
So that gives him 11. If he gets 4, then that's 12, and he's suspended for the next race. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. But I'm going to guess they're probably just going to give him 3. Because there has been a little bit of a precedent set already, but that was, I mean, you could have black flagged him and just disqualified him from, that was,
get him out of here.
He used his car as a weapon, in a sense, and he also duped Russell into it, and then he just drove into the side of him.
Yeah, as Lando Norris said post-race.
Like he was playing Mario Kart.
I was going to say, as Lando Norris said post-race, I've done that stuff too in Mario Kart. That's when you pull that stuff.
I mean, that was just, it was madness. I mean, you could even tell, the announcers we have here in the States, I mean, Crofty and Rosberg were just in shock. They didn't know what to say. And then Rosberg at one point is like, let's talk about something else. Because it's absolute madness. I mean, it shows Mad Max, he's still, when he is behind and he gets hot and frustrated, he just loses his cool, which you wouldn't think from a 4-time world champion, that he just completely red missed it and just snapped.
Yeah, but it's so much different. Spending 4 seasons being on pole. I don't even know what percentage. We can go back and look at the percentage of times Max was on pole over that 4-year stretch. And I would say at least 80% of the time he was sitting on pole for the races, and he was off and running. How many times of those 80% of the times he was on pole or on the front row, probably 95% of the time. Again, I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass here, but I'm probably pretty close to accurate.
Probably pretty close.
Over those 4 seasons, and he just took off. So he was racing under clean air pretty much the last half decade. Jeez. And I have no partner. Absolutely no. Another season of absolutely no teammate. Well, Mad Max and Thunder Road, man. He's all alone.
Heading to Thunderdome?
He's all alone.
Thunderdome? Yeah.
He's just a nomad out there. And it's obviously his frustrations poured over, but you can't do that.
No, you can't.
Again,
Well, you can't use your car as a weapon in a way, and that was pretty much using his car as a weapon.
I get pissed as hell driving down the Garden State Parkway every goddamn day, okay? I want to take my car and I want to run some dude off the road 100%, and everyone's been there. I'm there every day, okay? But I don't do that because that's what lunatics do. That's all I got to say about that. We all want to do that, but you can't do that. And there should be penalties.
Well,
like you said, 3 points. It's fair.
Yeah.
I think you give him 4 and have him sit out a race. Red Bull's toast anyway.
That would be wild. That would be wild if he had to sit out a race. That would be absolutely wild.
And at least Haas has a good chance of not finishing dead last. Although it would give a great opportunity for Isaac Hadjar, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit, to move up into that Red Bull seat. It'll be very, very interesting. But I don't think that would be out of line.
We'll get into my thoughts on that. We'll get on my thoughts on that coming up soon.
Yeah, especially with a week to go. A little teaser there. A little Isaac Hadjar jibber jabber coming up. Anything else you got? Overall thoughts of the race before we strap on our helmet here, take a lap around for a Quizmaster's cockpit run. Cheese.
I'll save some things for winners and losers we could definitely go into, but I am definitely ready to give you some questions this week. You have 0% chance of winning.
Wow. 0%.
0% chance.
0%. So he shouldn't even put the music on.
I don't think you're going to get all 3, but you could. Now that I'm looking at it, I did back down from what I was originally planning.
All right, that's okay. You can give me a bonus. If I get all 3, if I get all 3,
into the books.
If I get all 3, I'll take a bonus question. Maybe you'll owe me some lunch.
I had the books open. I was cramming for an exam, doing the questions this week. I had ChatGPT going. I had it all going. I was all over the place. I had the books open. It was a scene, man. It was a scene. And I started this a couple days ago, looking up questions. But I think I backed it off now that I look at it.
All right, so I'm toast. You're saying you're pissed.
But here we go.
You're pissed. We've had 8 races. I've only gotten 5 questions wrong all season. I've gotten 3 wrong in one day. I've only gotten 5 wrong all season, so obviously you're pissed as hell. He's like Mad Max. You knew this was coming because you got fire in your eyes. I haven't heard a single word about red Ferraris other than red fire. So let's do it. Bring it.
All right. Question number 1, sir. McLaren had their first front row lockout at Barcelona since when? When was the last time did McLaren lock out the front row?
Like front row to start.
Yes. Had the 1-2 for the start of the Grand Prix. McLaren did it before, but the last time they did it at Barcelona was when? Just give me the year. Not the driving lineup.
05.
That is incorrect. It was 1998. Can you give me the lineup?
Was Mika?
Mm-hmm. That's one.
Was it David Coulthard that year?
That is also correct. Too bad you didn't.
But that is not a question. You were just, that was like, now you're throwing in bonus. All right.
This is the question I was asking. So right off the bat, you were wrong. Question number 2.
You give me another question. I get that question right, and then you just like screw off. 98.
Well, you already got the first one wrong because you got the year wrong.
All right, go. Just keep bringing. Keep bringing. I'm done already. I don't have to worry about the music because the music isn't playing anyway. I got some issues here in the back end with. I don't even know what's going on. I got the curse of Mike Epps over here because I'm not going to be able to play that. We'll get to that one later. Go for it. Go. Next question.
Who has the most pole positions at the Spanish Grand Prix?
I have no idea. Who, Lewis?
That is also incorrect. Schumacher.
I was going to say, it was either Lewis or Schumi. It was like a coin flip. It's a coin. I could have flipped a coin.
Question number 3. 1991 was the first F1 Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya. And this driver made a famous overtake in the rain on the outside of Ayrton Senna. Who was that driver?
Was it Nigel Mansell?
That is actually correct. He gets the hardest question of the bunch right.
I knew that one. Those weren't easy.
The hardest one.
I think the first one was
you
tough. Who locked out the first row? Because I can tell you the last time when McLaren went 1-2 at the end of the race, but locking out the first row, I'm sure they mention it. I'm sure they mentioned it at some point. I just missed it.
They mentioned it during after quali, and then at the beginning of the broadcast today as well. 1998.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Mika and David.
At least they knew who the drivers were.
Yeah.
Partial
you got
credit.
that right.
Partial credit.
But you're still...
Like a D+.
But you're still a loser. So that'll take us right to losers.
No credit.
No credit.
My first crash and burn of the season, by the way.
That is a crash and burn.
That is my first crash and burn of the season through 9 races. So not too terrible. I've had plenty of those over the years. All right. What do you got, losers?
It was due to come. Let's just say that. You were due.
Yo, you're smiling ear to ear, baby.
Due for a rough day. Hey, I needed to. Would you get back-to-back 2 weeks in a row?
Back-to-back. You needed to step it up. It's all good. All right. Give it to me.
First loser, I'm going to give it to Williams. I mean, you could give it to just Williams in general because what the hell happened there? I mean, they were like nowhere all weekend. But you could give it up to Albon. When they get on the radio after you destroy 2 front wings because you're driving like a lunatic and they just tell you to park the car just to give up, like that's bad. When you have that kind of day, that is effing bad. And you're not even halfway through the Grand Prix yet. Like, let's get there, too. You weren't even halfway through the Grand Prix, and they just said, park it, just give up. It's over. Just call it a day. That's awful. But Williams in general was just, where the hell were they all weekend? And then Albon, that was a disaster.
Yeah, Albon was a disaster. I thought you would save him for the slap there. We didn't even discuss pre-show, so we're going to have a surprise slap coming up. Williams was just awful, especially after having such a great start to the season. I don't know if this was like the third leg jitters, because I think we saw a bunch of that, and I think I know what you have coming up next, so give me your next losers there.
Yuki Tsunoda? I mean, damn, bro. Damn. You qualify dead last. You get on the radio and say... That felt like a really good lap, too. Like, that's what made it even freaking worse. Like, that was just bad. I don't know why I'm last, because that felt like a really good lap. That's bad. I mean, he did recover to what, like 14th or 13th today, but still. I mean, he's no better than Lawson was, to be dead honest. No better. I mean, Lawson qualified dead last, too. So, I mean, Yuki's got to keep his eyes open because Isaac Ajar is a coming. Let's just say that. And he's probably going to be in that seat before not too far long.
Absolutely. No excuse. All right. Yeah, those are some serious losers this week. Yuki's just a disaster. Speaking of disasters, I mean, it's an easy one this week. You know, they keep trying and they keep going back and forth like a yo-yo. It's like another yo-yo season for Haas. But Esteban Ocon just couldn't get it going at all weekend long, and Ollie Bearman should have definitely not finished dead last. Definitely some unforced errors on his end. Definitely, they were feeling, and I think the whole Haas team was feeling another third leg. When you have like that, not back to back, but kind of those 3 race weekends in a row twice, you can really tell what teams were struggling. Haas was definitely struggling. A team that struggled a little bit less so, but definitely I think struggled on the back end was Mercedes. Toto Wolff said it himself after the race that they were a bunch of losers this week. Everything that happened with Kimi. I know it wasn't Kimi Antonelli's fault. It seemed like
isn't that that's like 2 or 3 weeks in a row that they've had, or 3 weeks in a row that they've had an engine failure.
Yeah.
During this entire triple header, they've had an engine failure. They had who was it? It was Kimi at Imola, then it was George at Monaco, and then Kimi again this weekend. So, and they're the engine supplier as well, and they're the ones having the trouble. So that's something.
Yeah,
especially
so
3 weeks in a row.
George Russell and all those shenanigans going on. He ends up finishing fourth, but just a disaster. I mean, Kimi wasn't really great at all this weekend and was really showing it. So maybe a step backwards for him. Maybe he's feeling it as a youngster traveling around Europe, because it cannot be easy. They all need a week off, and they're going to get it. As well deserved. So it leads us into winners, sir. We had a bunch of those too. So who you got for winners?
A bunch of winners today. Give it to the Hulk, man.
Absolutely.
Give it to the Hulk and Sauber in general, but the Hulk fifth with that max penalty. And the Sauber is definitely improving. I mean, they're definitely making moves with Wheatley now in charge, and Bonatti, former team lead at Ferrari. So definitely making moves, and then with the investment that's coming also with Audi coming in there, the car's definitely moving forward. That's huge finish. I mean, even Bortoletto finished 12th, I think.
Finished 12th.
So for both Saubers to finish in the top 12, I mean, when the hell was the last time we were talking about that a lot before this season? I mean, they were nowhere for the last 2 seasons. So showing that they've actually been moving forward into then starting to compete a bit with the mid team. With the mid teams on the grid, so it's good to see. It's very good to see, because Sauber is one of those teams that's been around for a long time, and they're no longer to be after this season. So, but definitely got to give it up for the Hulk. Great finish, 5th, monstrous. Give it up to Charles Leclerc.
I was waiting for it. We're 22 minutes into the program, and I don't hear a word about your Ferrari and Charles Leclerc. Have at it, sir.
Absolutely huge. I mean, he sacrificed over the weekend to save some tires, which actually was a brilliant move to have the 2 mediums and the softs for the strategy today was to get up to 3rd. So fantastic drive, absolutely fantastic. I mean, Charles Leclerc's been on it. He's been on it for this whole triple header. The team's definitely moving in a better direction. Somewhat. Still have ways to go in the car, but these finishes are definitely way better than they were at the beginning of the season. I mean, they're starting to get a little bit better hand on the car. The car is still crap. Let's be real, but it's huge. It's huge. Charles Leclerc is showing a little something.
It also seemed like Lewis Hamilton finally felt or starting to feel comfortable in this car. That's kind of what I felt this weekend after listening to both Leclerc and Hamilton both have like the same kind of driving style. So you knew it after Miami, when they both said the car's absolute trash. So when both drivers are saying that, and they had to make improvements. So the car's definitely made improvements, but I definitely agree with you that he even seemed that a podium would be on today, but I think, youth softs there at the end just wasn't going to be great compared to the new softs that, Hulkenberg had for compared to Lewis there. So, I mean, that's just new softs up old softs. I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah.
But definitely the car seems to be improving. The drivers seem to be getting a little bit happier with the car, but still ways to go. But that's huge to get on that podium. Huge. Little strategy involved. So the pit wall did something right. I mean, the pit stops were good. So yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. How do you not give it up for Isaac Hadjar? Are you kidding me? Where is this guy coming from that he's going to pull this off? What a great just weekend in general for him and Racing Bulls in general, because the fact that he beat both Red Bulls, both Yuki and Max Verstappen in the final standings of the weekend is just absolutely ridiculous. And what a great, another rookie driving like he's been in Formula One for 3, 4, 5 seasons already. And it's guys like Isaac Hadjar and before this stretch, Kimi Antonelli are the reason why these 18, 19, 20-year-olds are now forced and expected to perform immediately. And it puts massive pressure on them as you see some rookies just take off and become amazing or really impressive very early on, and others that don't. And it just shows the lack of patience that Formula One on this top level has for these drivers. So really, really amazing. And Fernando Alonso in Spain. Did he finally put 2 on the board? Finally? Finishing, I think, 9th, correct? Finishing 9th today. Behind Pierre Gasly, you also got to throw an honorable mention there because Alpine's been kind of a mess this season for them. But you got to give it up for Fernando Alonso in Spain. Home turf. It's the first points of the season, I do believe, for him. So getting off the schneid, as we say, as his partner had limp wrist issues going on or something like that. So Lance Stroll
was advised by medical staff not to race. I mean, maybe that's a sign he needs to retire. But we'll get into that a little bit later in the news. I have a little something for that in the news for you, so I can hear you go off a little bit on that, because I know you'd be smiling ear to ear if a retirement from that man was announced. But we'll say
I think a lot of people would be smiling. I think the entire country of Canada would have a day of celebration for the embarrassment that Lance Stroll has caused in sports. As another Canadian is about to go to the NBA Finals but that's a whole other show and a whole other story. But I need a moment here because I'm having technical difficulties. Bear with me one moment. Because my slap music isn't playing. Even though, do we have a slap this week?
I mean, I think we can continue just railing on Max, to be honest, because that was complete, absolute lunacy and some of the dumbest crap you'd ever want to see on a racing track, to be dead honest. I mean, that's kiddie crap. That's Mario Kart. That's, just dirty, immature. I mean, the guy's a dad now. Like, you gotta grow up a bit, dude.
I appreciate that. But usually our slap is something we didn't touch on. So I'd like to at least take a stab at a slap this week. I'm going to go a little off track. And I wasn't worried about it because I knew you wouldn't even pick up on it because it was off track and it was post-race. And that is the cowardness of Alex Brundle. First of all, the nepotism for him to have that job to begin with is a whole other show, another day, right? But Alex Brundle had Terry Crews on the post-race show. And Terry Crews acts like he knows Formula One. And the question was posed by Alex Brundle to Terry Crews. Who do you think is going to win the Drivers' Championship this year? All right? And what did Terry Crews say? First of all, Terry Crews stops and goes into like the tank for a moment. Kind of like you're putting him on the spot. And what is Terry Crews' response? He says McLaren. Okay, hesitate. If you know anything about Formula One following it this year, McLaren's going to win the Constructors. Like, come on. But second of all, the question was not who's going to win the Constructors. Who's going to win the Drivers' Championship? So Terry Crews completely, first of all, I don't even know what the hell he's doing on the show anyway, but completely politicized the hell out of that answer. And Alex Brundle just lets it go. He just lets it go. You come back. Well, I understand McLaren, but which driver do you think is going to win? Terrible job by Alex Brundle. That left me pissed as hell on the post-race. And I still don't understand what the hell Terry Crews is doing there. Anyway, I don't think he has anything to do with the Formula One movie. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's just trying to get as many spots as possible. He's not Spanish, or maybe I'm wrong about that. But I don't want Terry Crews to hear this and beat the crap out of me either. So Alex Brundle.
Probably a smart move there. He's a pretty big dude.
It's not Terry Crews' fault at all. At all. He was put on that show. No. Alex Brundle, you did a terrible job in the interview. But I do have to say about Terry Crews, and Alex Brundle did ask him what was the one thing.
Terry Crews was also like in the interviews post race of the podium.
I don't know what the hell he was doing there.
So,
if any insight, hit us up in the PaddockUSA@gmail.com, in the PaddockUSA@gmail.com, and email us why was Terry Crews there at all on the show, involved in it at all. There had to be something going on here that I totally missed. And maybe there's a logical reason that I totally went right over my head. But they did ask him, so Alex Brundle did ask him one question. He said, what is the one thing you would change about Formula One? And I got to give it up for Terry Crews because he did say increased safety. So I'm going to give it up. I'm actually going to give Terry Crews the F1 captain safety. I'm taking off my captain safety hat. I will be his lieutenant governor, and he will be captain safety because he did bring it up on the program. And we saw a lot of unsafe things going down on track today, which it really felt like this is the first time he ever watched Formula One and trying to act as if he's been watching it for years.
He's been in many a race. He's been at many races, especially over the last few seasons, so he is a big fan.
It's a weak answer. That was a terrible answer. Who's going to win the Drivers' Championship? And you say McLaren.
It was a diplomatic answer. It was a diplomatic answer because he was going to piss anybody off, apparently. It was a terrible answer. I'm not going to disagree with you there. It was a bad answer.
I would have said Lando Norris just to stir the pot. But I'm not Terry Crews. Terry Crews' arm is the size of my head.
Yeah, you'd have to hit the gym a lot. Probably do some steroids for that.
That would never make it. Would never make it. All right, sure. That brings us
nobody
into
Nobody can take the captain safety hat from you either. You can't give that shit away. That's enough. You are captain safety. He might be able to be your lieutenant, but you are captain safety.
I wouldn't put Terry Crews in any second fiddle. And unfortunately, our technical difficulties continue here, sir. But it is time to climb that hill, top of the hill.
Oh, it's time to take that fantasy ride to the fantasy island of Greentopia, where the beer flows like wine, the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes, it grows as far as the eyes can see. It's not the same without the music, I'll tell you that much. But that air always smells fantastic. And take a little walk to the top of the hill, the casino at the top. Just like Monaco, baby. Are we cashing in or are we checking out?
I think it was a train wreck of a week for us. So I'm bringing up all of our final numbers.
I pretty much think I didn't hit anything, but that board was absolute trash. I'll just say that. That board was rough.
Yeah, I think we both went Lando Norris for the win. That didn't happen. You went Max for the win plus 750.
I mean, it was plus 750, so why the hell not?
It's a big number for Max. And I think we both went Carlos Sainz top 10. You got to at least pull for the home driver, but he just was terrible this weekend. You really thought Carlos was going to pull, especially the way Williams has been this season so far.
However,
but he does
I'll
not.
Just say this. say this: whoever played the Hulkenberg plus 6,000 to finish in the top six is ruined the day today.
Absolutely. Crack open a bottle of Dom Perignon for that one. If you pick Nico Hulkenberg, former Haas driver who's near and dear to my heart, who was once, at one point only a few years ago, retired, living in Australia on a farm, and always good for a good quote. He's like almost like he's not quite, Kimi Räikkönen personality, but he's a little cheeky there. He's a little saucy in those post-race interviews for sure. So, but give it up for him.
Nico's always been a character.
A character, that's for damn sure. But losers across the board. I dropped 200. You dropped 150. God damn! I had 2 Racing Bulls in the top 10, which
close, but no cigar.
No cigar. Needed a
20-second penalty on Max, and then you might have got that one.
Yeah, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. I don't know if they're going to go back into the books here and change the final, but they probably won't. That's 10-second penalty. It's going to stand.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Which brings us to, of course, our favorite news segment of the week, and that is, as we bring you every single show, and that is, of course, in the news. In the news. What do we got in the news?
As you mentioned, Lance Stroll missed the race this week because he has pain in his wrist from that bike accident he had a few years back. Number one, this is a two-parter, actually, for questions in regards to this one. Should the rules be changed so that Aston Martin could have raced the second car, either, drop to the back of the grid or something like that kind of thing? And secondly, if Lance Stroll can't make 3 race weekends, should he retire?
Well, we're going to have a lot more, and every single year, those series of it. I had to take a look at the calendar, but I think we definitely have, 2 more 3-weekend blocks coming up this season. And it is tough. We talked about it earlier in the season after the first 3-block race, how that third race, as we just saw a couple hours ago here, how that third race can be extremely difficult and really testing, especially with the heat today. That was rough as far as the heat was concerned. I mean, your water bottle, you're just drinking boiling water. You're just drinking boiling water. You're basically in the desert in that case. So that was a really, really tough one in general. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why Aston Martin didn't have – the reserve drivers are there for a reason if someone gets hurt. Like, if Lance Stroll crashed in qualifying and wasn't able to race, but the second car was able to go, wouldn't they have the reserve driver going?
No, because once a driver, once quality takes place, has to be in the seat.
So that's it.
That's the rule right now. That's what I'm saying. Should there be a rule change that's saying that if you do, if something happens, like, after qualifying, which apparently after qualifying, he was very much bothered by pain in his wrists from that bike accident.
Say the drivers post-quali have this great quali. Everyone's feeling good, feeling great. They're in Barcelona. They're in some great city, and they all go out for dinner together, right? And they all go out for bad sushi. And they all, half of them get the shits the next day. And, 4 of them can't drive. You're telling me, a quarter of the grid can't race now because they all got bad sushi the night before?
That's the rule.
You got to replace the driver. And I understand the lack of equity there. I understand there could be, you can't race because of food poisoning, right? You always say, my lawyer friends always say, juries love to see broken bones and they don't really care about tummy aches, and it's really, really tough. It's easy to show broken bones or hurt something or bruises, much more difficult to prove, something else. But you could, have someone qualify and then another driver race, I guess. with those rules, but
that's what I'm
something
saying.
to
You
at least
need to
look into.
change-
I think it's a further discussion that needs to be had. Is if we're in that situation, you never know. There could be a car accident just driving from the hotel to the track in the morning, and you could have a fender bender, and 2-3 drivers could be driving in a car going to the race, and now you have 3 less drivers on the grid. You have reserve drivers for a reason. You know, every team has them. You have them for a reason, so you use them.
And what about the second part?
Which was, I'm sorry, that was like a while ago.
Should Lance Stroll retire?
Lance Stroll should have retired years ago. I think we've had this conversation well before this.
All right, story number 2. Moving
And
on.
Canada, we do stand on guard for thee, just not on guard for Lance Stroll.
Yeah, I totally concur with that one.
All right. Next story.
Christian Horner shot down rumors this week that he was going to be taking over team principal role at Ferrari. That's a pretty hot rumor that was spitting around. What's your thoughts on that?
Rumors, nonsense, garbage. We have enough to talk about in Formula One. You don't have to talk about these rumors. I'll believe it when I see it, although Christian Horner is... It's like this love-hate relationship with Red Bull. I don't know what his relationship with the Red Bull front office is, but it definitely, after that kind of scandal we saw last year with, was he, with another woman, was stuff going on, was there harassment, was there whatever it may or may not have been, whether it really happened, whether it was settled monetarily, which was probably what happened, off the track there, and a little bit of hush money. Potentially, I don't want to accuse him of anything, but whatever happened, and he's always been in tepid water ever since then with Red Bull. And when you're not winning, and when you're now 4th in the Constructors' Red Bull, it's not a good place to be, as they're finishing 3rd last year. And I don't think it's just the Red Bull second driver's fault that they constantly, this number 1 car. I mean, the fact that Isaac Hadjar beat out both Red Bull drivers this weekend is not good.
Well, he wasn't beating Max out if Max didn't go Mad Max there at the end, so.
But he did. But
if
some butts were candy and nuts, it'd be a Merry Christmas for us all, sir.
Well, and if I'm Isaac Hadjar, I'm not. If they call me to come to Red Bull, I might say no.
If I'm Isaac Hadjar, if they call me in the office, I'd be looking for a raise right about now, big time, big time. Show me the money.
But I don't know if I would want to go to that Red Bull seat, because bad things happen when you're in that second Red Bull seat, man. Just bad things. Bad things. The only person that could handle that was our old pal Danny Rick.
And you wouldn't take a shot at Isaac Hadjar for Ferrari if Lewis Hamilton leaves at the end of the season?
I mean, you have to. You would have to. A hot young driver. You would have to try and go for it, of course. Why not?
You never know until they hit the track. All right, what else you got?
Yep. Bunch of complaints after another lacklusterish Monaco Grand Prix. A new layout was proposed. I forget who proposed it for the Monaco Grand Prix. I don't know if you saw it, but it added some little bit more length to the track, a couple more possible passing opportunities, and widening some other spots in the track as well. So what is your thoughts on that?
Definitely have to widen the track, that's for sure. Every few inches, every meter, that you're able to widen the track in any area on the track is definitely a bonus for sure. You definitely have difficulties. I mean, you can't not much you can do but under the casino or certain other parts of the track. No,
that actually stayed. That area stayed, but they added some. So
it's a little too much construction there for the integrity of the building itself. But it's also a dangerous track. The faster and faster you go, the thin track, there's not many places to go. And It's also the parade. The parade of cars this year was just a little rough to watch. It's a parade. It's like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade here in the city, and everyone just drives straight with everyone's front of everyone else's ass, and you can hold up the line. There's very few places to pass. You have to at least have one legit place to pass. Like, real legit place to have a legitimate passing, whether it's the front straight right off the bat, and they widen that area if they can, but how far are they going to go, and how far is the municipality of Monaco willing to go to widen the track in lieu of potentially damaging some long-lasting historical structures?
I don't know. The proposal was, or that somebody came up with, was pretty mad. I mean, they had the Nouvelle Chicane moved up the road by like 80 meters or something like that. So they'd have to, build new land and stuff there in Monaco to compensate that. So that would be something as well, but that would take a lot of time. But it's a very interesting proposal. It was very, very interesting. It definitely added a little bit more, a couple more like little straights and things that could then add to some passing opportunities.
Well, if anyone can recklessly spend money, it is the Monegalese government. So I have full confidence in them blowing some cash and, extending that side. Although you don't want, maybe more yacht parking eventually, for some more large boats, vessels to pull up. That might work as well. I'd be more interested in that. Having more space for yachts. Maybe one day, sir. What else you got?
Well, we touched on it a little bit. How long does Yuki got left in that seat, man?
Just ups and down. What an up and down just last year for Yuki. And the confidence level that the Red Bull organization has in him, where it's like, we want him, we don't want him, we want him, we don't want him. I think there was a lot of pressure from Honda. I think the move was I'm really, every single week, I just really feel that it was less of a Red Bull decision and more of a Honda sponsorship decision to move him right before Japan. You gave Liam Lawson 2 races, and Isaac Hadjar is really showing that Liam Lawson is not so great, and maybe that Racing Bull car is better than it should be, but the fact that he's getting beat every single week after getting demoted, after he was supposed to be the hot shit coming in to Red Bull and being right up there, finishing top 10 every single week, getting points every single week when he moved to Red Bull or started the season with Red Bull, and nowhere near that, and then goes to Racing Bull and now just playing second fiddle. So the whole thing's bizarre.
But yeah, I don't, to be honest, if he keeps putting up performances like he has the last races, he will not be in that seat very much longer, especially when you're qualifying dead last or back of the field. I mean, you starting the last few races, you started from the pit lane. I mean, that's bad.
Bizarro. It's bizarro. Like, it doesn't, like, he was racing better in the race in the Racing Bull than he was in now the Red Bull. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Something is wrong with this whole situation, and it's been wrong for a couple of seasons now. And I don't know. I have no conspiracy theory for you, sir. Maybe there's gremlins in the car. That's all I got.
There's something.
I'll start my own YouTube channel, The Curse of the... It's just cursed. And the Red Bull second seat is just cursed.
Yeah.
Why? How? We might have to do a separate show on it.
I'm going to have to call that guy from the Y-Files and have him do some research onto that, because...
Get on it, sir.
That's some madness conspiracy stuff going on with that. That's all I gotta say. I mean,
All right.
there's something weird going on.
Well, we're going to have plenty more in the news to come because we're going to have an episode next week. Anything else you got before we head on into our next week's program?
It.
All right.
That is all.
And speaking of, before we go where we go to next, I want to thank everyone from all around the world listening, from Johannesburg, South Africa, Rochester, New York, Portland, Oregon, Fort Lauderdale, from California, Ohio, from Westfield, New Jersey, from countries I can't pronounce, from Frankfurt, Germany, Vienna, Austria, Milan, Italy. Thank you for this week's listeners. Amazing, amazing. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I was supposed to be out right now at a escape room with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, where they lock you in a room and they force you to solve puzzles. But I didn't want to go to prison this weekend, so I opted to do the show instead and join you guys. Maybe I'll have a little barbecue in a little bit here to make up for that. I think that's a little more appropriate than getting locked in a room for the day. But thank you all so much for listening. Sir, where are we going next?
Next, we'll see you. Next episode will be in the news special, but after that, it's 2 weeks' time, a fortnight. Good, a much free awesome.
Coming back to North America. Maybe Lance Stroll in his home race can show up. You think 3 weeks or 2 weekends off will be enough for Lance Stroll to make a comeback? I guess we'll have to see. Until then, hit us up in the PaddockUSA@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube. Listen to the show wherever you got listening. And, of course, say what you got to say, brother.
I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.